Hey, this is Gordy back with some more Let's Try to Make a Video Game. I'm just working some more on the character rig here, and just in the meantime of processing some Let's Play videos. So I thought I'd just start recording again, cause why not record if I'm gonna draw it? Just working on the shoes. If you wanna get a peek of what Ray looks like so far. Ah, she doesn't have a head. Ah. um, yeah, I turned on her underwear because I don't want to get censored by YouTube, and I don't want to bother putting a censor bar there. In case there's any confusion, this is going to be a sexy game. Um, I don't know. I'm feeling. I have a very. I've always had a weird feeling about. I don't know. I made a porno comic, right? But it was never really porno to me because I can't imagine somebody reading that comic and whacking off to it. And this is kind of the same. I just like I like writing stories that are about sex. I like drawing sex. I'm not the guy who goes around and looks at hentai and masturbates to it, but I am the kind of guy who looks at it because I think it's neat. I think it's a neat thing. But yeah, I figured I might as well record while I'm drawing here. I'm actually going a little bit more all out on this art than I normally would, as far as detail and whatnot. There's some weird considerations you have to make when you're designing a character rig. So like this is more or less seamless, right? Like you can see her arms there, but I can and I've only done the I've only finished the one, right? But oh oops, I need to make a folder here. 1 second. Okay. So like I can turn her arms off and put a different pose on, right? And in order to do this, like here, I don't want this to overlap with the clothes, so I have to make a mask on it, but a mask on the clothes layer. But the mask has to be different for each pose. So it's just something to think about that I didn't think about before. Because I certainly don't want to put the clothes underneath the arms, because then the parts of the clothes that go or underneath anything, they need to be sort of the top layer. So it's just a consideration I didn't think about, but it's easy enough to make a mask. So right now I'm just working on her shoes. And since, this is the kind of thing that I'm not sure if this is a worthwhile use of time, in the sense that I think very rarely are you going to see this low on the character model as far as in a visual novel. But I mean, it's part of the rig. Like in case I need to show, I don't know what the scenario is, but I haven't actually written the whole script. I've just written I've just sort of like laid out the choices and the outcomes. So there may be a scenario in which you have to look at her shoes in this pose, but I can't actually think of when that would be. I don't know about doing time lapse videos. They take up a lot of hard drive space. Like the one I did before ended up being about 11 minutes of footage at 30 FPS, and it was a 100 GB file once I exported it out of Camtasia, or not Camtasia, out of oh, whatever that program is I used to make it work. What is it called? Is this just recording the top screen? No. Okay. Camtasia is the screen recording capture, like the screen capture program that I use, but the one I use to make time lapses is AVI something 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 something. Let me let me just actually endorse them. It's a really useful program. Virtual Dub, that's the one. but it does make some huge files when you use it to make time lapses. Like it was 20,000 frames at 30 FPS, which that's a lot. But a 100 GB file is huge. It's just enormous. Like the 1080 recordings that I'm doing of various games are usually about 4 gigs, and then they become much smaller when I encode them for YouTube. So I don't know what the I mean. It's very taxing on my computer to like, and it's my computer can certainly handle it, but it's a lot of waiting around, and my computer's like processing, and it runs slow. Like this is no problem. I can run Photoshop no problem, and I also have Camtasia and iTunes and Firefox and Flash and everything running. Yeah, I'm going for a very sort of specific look with this. I've been experimenting with thinner lines lately. It's sort of a it's something I go very back and forth on. Sometimes I want thick, sometimes I want thin. It depends on the style that I'm going for. Thin is very anime. Thick is very like Western animation, you know. And even though I'm aware that I've never been much of a guy who goes in the straight up American comic style, even though I'm interested in it. But there's a lot of like I like the coloring more than I like the character design aspect of that. And obviously, I just take influences from everything, but my definitely anime and Western animation are my primary influences as far as art style. And I'm also not claiming that I'm as good as anybody. I'm not that talented of an artist. All I am is I'm a hard worker. That's all I got going for me. So there's not a lot to talk about, but because obviously I'm just doing this thing. But I thought I might as well record it. There's no harm in doing so. I wonder. Well, I don't know. I wonder if having dead space in the recording is troublesome to people. I don't know. Chances are nobody's gonna watch it. It's just a matter of if they do, that's good. Okay. Got them little fat shoelaces. I need to work on my clothing design, the clothing design aspect of how I do things. This feels a little uninspired. It's just a very basic outfit. But at this point in time in the chronology of Ray's story, she and Cliff are in a warm place because this is when they're in college. Obviously, because they're dating. Well, not obviously. You don't. You very likely don't know the story, but obviously to me. So that's why she's wearing like short shorts and whatnot. Because she is a bit of a sex pot, but she's also practical. She's not going to wear short shorts in Minneapolis. At least not unless it's summer out. And I'm just going through and refining the lines. This is another thing that I've been doing lately that I'm not sure is a good idea. I used to go through and make trace over the lines, but lately I've just been trying to like refine the lines like I'm doing here. Like I would make a new layer with a new set of like inks on it. But I've been doing it this way for a little while, and I don't know if it's better or worse, but it certainly is less. Well, I think better is relative. It's probably the same quality of art, but it's definitely faster. So maybe that's better. It's definitely faster because I can I can see everything as I'm doing it. And I just have her whole like nude form just underneath everything as just so I can see where it is in case I like if I erase the whole front of this shoe because I thought it was in the wrong spot. which it kind of is, but it looks all right in the macro sense. Like it looks good in the macro sense. Like her, it should be sort of twisted, but both of them look like right individually. But when you stack them on top of each other, they don't look quite right. That's all right. It's fine. Because you're never going to see them stacked on top of each other. Because there's obviously her shoe isn't transparent. It's been a very productive 4-day weekend for me. It's the Thanksgiving weekend still. And I have done a lot of stuff. And I'm pretty excited about that. I'm just a little concerned. And obviously you're going to get this quite a bit later than that. I'm backlogging a bunch of videos, and I think I mentioned that in the last one. I'm backlogging a bunch of videos because I'm not sure if my work schedule will allow me to create videos at a good enough rate. Like my goal is to upload 4 videos a day, which seems pretty reasonable, which means I need to make 4 videos a day, obviously. But stuff like this takes a lot. Well, this one doesn't take any time, but stuff like if I did another time lapse, that would take an extremely large amount of time. And then it's a matter of, if my videos are 20 minutes or so long, I need to block out about 2 hours to record, which isn't that much on a given day. I get off of work at I get off of work at 4. So if I get I mean, it should be doable. All right, so that looks like the inks. Okay, let's make a base layer color. And now we can turn off the underwear, because they're going to poke through like that. I'm going to turn everything back on so we can see it. There's a bit of a disconnect in the color right here. It looks a little bit wrong, but that's okay. I'm also going to go ahead and copy this layer mask on this layer over to make a folder there, call it casual, put the layer mask there, turn off undies. There we go. That looks fine. Okay. I need to turn that off in order to color it. Let's see, what color shirt is she wearing? There's also a little bit of disconnect on her face color. I'm going to need to work on that. Let's see. It's just too bright. Her face is too bright in comparison to her neck. So I need to add some highlight there. Or I need to get rid of some highlight on the face. One of the two. That's alright. Okay, let's select the whole color again, and then let's choose a color for her shirt. Ray sort of has a blue, purple, pink sort of color scheme usually. Black a lot too. Let's see what this looks like. With the sky blue. Alright, if I need to change that, obviously I will. Sort of a lighter color than I usually go with on her. Let's give her. These shorts look like khaki. I don't like the color of khaki. Maybe, how about, let's try a sort of a darkish, like a olive drab, darkish. Might be a little too saturated. A little bit more yellow. A little bit more yellow. A little bit less saturation. A little lighter. Yeah, it looks alright. Deselect around the button, because the button isn't the same color. Or actually, it might be. It would be a plastic button on a pair of pants like this, probably. So it can be the same color. It wouldn't be metal. Alright, and let's check her shoes out. I'm thinking black socks. She seems like a black socks kind of girl. Just make them not very saturated. I never go with a straight black color almost. So this 245-20, sort of the color of light that I would normally use for leggings. But I never use a completely black shade for coloring. Unless there's a very specific reason for it, just because you can't put shadows on black. It doesn't show up. And it still reads as black. And as far as these are sort of like skatery shoes, so probably a lot of like high contrast. Let's go with pink, like a hot pink for the accents. So let's put that on the shoelaces. Oh yeah. And these colors are obviously all subject to change because if it doesn't look right, there's no point in keeping it. The way that I do the colors, it's very easy to change them. I can just select the one color and then deselect it. And in my head, this is the logo. So make that the same color as the laces. And then how about this part too? The heel. Let's copy that to the next one. Thinking those strappy kind of looking things are going to be... I'm thinking the other colors are primarily just going to be black and white. So I'm going to say white for those straps and black for pretty much everything else. Because then there's going to be a difference in texture between the rubber part and the sort of the cloth part of the shoe too. So that I'll shade it differently, so it'll look different in the final render of the image. So yeah, let's go for white. And again, I pretty much use a blue, like a very unsaturated, very light blue as my white. And again, that's so I can put highlights in it. Like you can see, it just looks white more or less. I think that putting this on the tongue might be going a little bit too far. But maybe not. We'll have to see. Looks like those videos are done processing. Maybe not. And then I did this part too. And I don't want this value of black to be the same as this one, so I'm going to use a slightly different color. I'll go based off of that. Yeah, the same hue, but obviously much less saturation and brightness. Oh, I put that on the wrong side. There we go. Maybe a little bit darker than that. Alright. It looks alright. I'm not super keen on the blue shirt in that combination. And the white is too bright. So let's turn off contiguous on our magic wand. Let's make that a little bit, that white not quite as white. Let's bring down the brightness to 80% maybe. So it's sort of black, pink, and gray. little bit darker even. How about 70? How about 65? Let's try 65. Okay. Maybe it's the green that's the problem. Let's try, how about a sort of dark gray shirt? Dark grayish blue. And that's very much like stuff she always wears. I was kind of hoping to do something a little bit different. Let's see. Maybe just less saturation. Sort of more, no, it's too white. Okay. I can live with that. Alright, it's been 20 minutes. I'll see you next time.